Using data to answer real-world questions is the underpinning of science, and statistics has long represented the mathematical framework through which we can reason quantitatively in the face of uncertainty. While this continues to be the case, in modern settings, the techniques of classical statistics often require some rethinking. Increasingly, we find ourselves dealing with data which is high-dimensional, large-scale, and filled with complex interactions. In this new setting, the off-the-shelf methods of yesteryear may not always suffice, and we need to develop new methodologies to take up these challenges. For example, consider the task of predicting the results of a football match. A classical model for this is to think of each team as having some attacking strength and defensive strength ratings, potentially also adding in some simple indicators for form and which team is playing at home. This model certainly has an appeal in its simplicity, but is necessarily low-dimensional and doesn't particularly address the complexity of the task at hand. In contrast, modern approaches to this task would look at a far wider range of inputs, considering concrete factors like weather and pitch size, while also incorporating more abstract quantities like team morale, cohesion, and press speculation. One would also likely have access to data about individual players, allowing for an analysis of the game on macro, meso, and microscopic levels. This sort of hierarchical structure is increasingly common in modern statistical models and requires thoroughly different approaches. In dealing with these modern datasets, mathematical statistics has two questions chiefly in mind. One, can I develop efficient algorithms which work on realistic datasets in practice? And two, can I prove theoretical results about these algorithms? That is to say, I'd like to have algorithms which appear to work well on test datasets, but I'd also like a theoretical understanding which gives me conditions which say when these methods should work well more generally. Expecting a one-size-fits-all solution for a statistical problem is not always realistic, so it's important that we understand the limitations of our methods. To make things more specific, the tasks I'm interested in are highly quantitative. How well can I estimate a statistical quantity? Whether it's a mean, median, mode, probability, or something altogether more exotic. One framework for this sort of computation is Markov chain Monte Carlo, also known as MCMC. It is best thought of as a form of structured stochastic simulation. The core idea is as follows. I have a state of belief about my model, which is represented as a probability distribution. MCMC then simulates data which is consistent or approximately consistent with this distribution. One then uses this data to answer quantitative tangible questions, by taking expectations, mathematically speaking. This is particularly useful for models involving latent variable structures, which is to say, when we deal with quantities which we do not observe directly, but believe to be a part of the model regardless. Most useful MCMC methods have the formal mathematical property that as you take more and more samples, your results become exact in the infinite limit. While this is a neat result mathematically, from a practical perspective, it is of great importance to make this intuition quantitative, asking questions like, for how long do I need to run my algorithm to guarantee that I have 2 decimal places of accuracy in my approximation? This is what I focus on in my work, techniques for modern data analysis which have desirable properties, both in theory and in practice.